I cannot believe I am making a 4.0 video. 2.0s happen every once in a while when I find myself having too many ideas for a particular topic. 3.0s have always been my limit, and those only get made in very rare instances. But 4.0s, I could never. Until today. If you're watching this video, chances are you know what you're in for. Did Big Brother 14 cancel an eviction solely to keep Frank in the game? Did Cory actually vote to evict Jag, but the producers made it sound like he evicted Red? Today, we'll dive into those and a few others on a quest to crack open these unanswered questions. Here are 5 more conspiracy theories about Big Brother.
Zach has 5, but Jameka, you have been disqualified. You put a blue ball in your clear tube.
The first conspiracy theory that we'll go over is by far the most recommended theory that I've gotten in the last month, and that's the theory that in week 5 of Big Brother 25, Cory voted to evict Jag, but the producers spliced the footage to make it look like he voted to evict Red. If I'm being perfectly honest, I didn't even want to go over this one, but I had enough comments about it where I thought I would at least mention it. The reason that this is a conspiracy theory in the first place is because when Cory casts his vote to evict Red, it looks like his mouth is actually saying Jag. However, this is one that we can quickly disprove, as Cory's brother Zach opened up about how Cory had a speech impediment growing up and had trouble pronouncing R words, and his speech therapist also chimed in to explain how the mouth would look like that if one had gone through speech therapy and worked on their R's. But even past that, what is the motive here? What's the intent? What does CBS have to gain by making it seem like Cory voted out Red over Jag? If this was a true split vote and Cory's vote would have decided it, then maybe there would be an ounce of credence as to why Big Brother might want to change his vote, but this vote was 8-2. I get why this theory snowballed because it certainly can look like Cory was saying Jag instead of Red, but I think this has been more than cleared up, so it's a disproven theory.
Hello, Cory.
Hi, Julie.
Please cast your vote to evict.
I vote to evict Red.
According to Zach Wartenberger, he says that Cory grew up with a speech impediment. He's bad at saying R's, okay?
The next conspiracy theory is one that I briefly touched upon in a recent video, and I got a lot of comments asking me to dig a little deeper, so here it is. This Big Brother conspiracy theory is the theory that in week 3 of Big Brother 14, when the coaches came back into the game, the eviction was not supposed to be canceled, but the producers shoehorned it in because they wanted to keep Frank in the game. For a little background info, it was week 3, Shane had won both the HOH and the veto, and he had gone through with his plan to target Frank by putting him up at the veto meeting. Frank didn't know it yet, but the votes were there to send him home, and he was going to get evicted come Thursday night. But there was a little something going on behind the scenes this whole time. The prior week, Julie had announced to the viewers at home that there would be an audience vote. This vote was to determine whether or not the coaches would be given the opportunity to enter the game as players at the end of week 3, right around when the eviction would take place. The viewers voted yes, so come eviction night, Julie revealed to the house guests that the coaches now had the opportunity to become players, and that if one of them hit the reset button, then all 4 coaches would enter the game and the game would be reset, and there would be no eviction that night. Hold on a second. I went through and checked the episodes, and as far as I can tell, there was never any mention of the eviction being canceled in the week leading up to this. I get that the show may have wanted the shock value of not announcing it until the very last minute, but it still felt very random and super unnecessary. Frank was an audience favorite and everyone knew it, so this felt like a sneaky way to keep him in the game while also not drawing too much attention to it because the big focus was on the coaches returning. At this point, I am fully putting my conspiracy goggles on because I had a sneaking suspicion about something. So I went and checked. And what do you know, Big Brother 14 was the first season to ever feature 2 double evictions. It's almost as if they originally planned on having just 1 double as per usual, but then last minute decided to keep Frank in the game and added in a second double eviction as a way to cut down on the extra time. I am mostly just having fun with it at this point, but there definitely could be something here, so I'm gonna hesitantly believe it.
And I'll be back 1 week from tonight at 9 for the next live eviction. Plus, find out how America voted and if the coaches will enter the game. Before we begin the live vote and eviction, I have some news for you that may change the course of the game. America has decided that yes, they want to offer you the chance to get back in the game as players. You would reset the game right here, right now, meaning there would be no eviction tonight. And everyone would battle it out tonight for the title of head of household. House guests, the results are in. The reset button has been activated. Joe and Frank, neither of you will be evicted tonight.
I have worked my tail off all week to assure my safety. Now the coaches have been dropped into the game. Frank's not going home, and I have to walk the plank.
Mike just told me that I might have been going out the door tonight, and I can't believe it.
In one of the earlier conspiracy theory videos, I talked about an evil Dick cheating incident, so why not talk about another one? The conspiracy theory in question is the theory that at the final 5 double eviction of Big Brother 8, Evil Dick cheated in the veto by purposely sabotaging Jameka with a blue ball. Dick had won the final 5 HOH and he had nominated Eric and Jameka for eviction. The veto competition had loads of colored rubber balls rain down on the competitors, and the first player to put 8 green balls in their tube would win the veto. The competition starts off normal, but then things start to get a little fishy. At the beginning of the comp, you can see Dick put a blue ball into his pocket, then later he is shown holding it in his left hand, and then a few moments afterwards, the ball is no longer there, and Jameka's tube is shown to have a blue ball in it, which disqualified her from the competition and ended her shot at winning the veto. Although we never actually see Dick put the ball in Jameka's tube, things obviously look a little suspicious with all the pieces laid out in front of you. The incident was never addressed and was written off as a freak accident where a ball must have bounced and landed into Jameka's tube, but have you ever tried those types of games at carnivals? That is super unlikely, especially when you look at how skinny the tubes were. The main thing going against this is that if Dick were to try and force a particular player to lose the veto, targeting Jameka doesn't really make sense. Eric was the player Dick wanted evicted, and Zach winning the veto was the only way Dick possibly could have lost Danny that week, so it would make much more sense to try and make those two guys lose over Jameka. So overall, as fun as this one is, I don't think it's too likely that it's true, but at the same time, I don't know. This guy thought outside the box a lot, and I wouldn't put it past him for a second.
Jameka's still in the lead with 3 green balls. Jameka has 5. Zach has 5, but Jameka, you have been disqualified. You put a blue ball in your clear tube.
Up next, we have one that I cannot believe I didn't cover in the first 3 parts, and that's the conspiracy theory that the final question of the final 4 HOH comp in Big Brother 9 was rigged so that the showrunners could choose whatever outcome they determined was more entertaining. For context, the final 4 HOH was a fact or fiction comp, where the players were read a statement pertaining to the season, and they had to answer whether it was fact or fiction. Going into the final question, Sharon had a 1-point lead over Ryan, and the statement was as follows. Fact or fiction? Everyone knows Jacob and Sharon and Ryan and Jen were 2 pre-existing relationships in the house. But there is a 3rd pre-existing relationship still in the house. The obvious and, dare I say, correct answer would be fiction. So that's what Sharon answered. But Ryan, knowing that he needed a Hail Mary to have a shot at winning, answered fact. Julie then came on to read the answer, and then radio silence for like an awkward amount of time. Here, let me demonstrate. Yeah, that long. Julie finally came back and said that it was indeed fact. And then a small graphic at the bottom of the screen showed text that said, the guinea pigs. Big Brother was being sneaky and said that the guinea pig pets that were living in the house were the 3rd pre-existing relationship, which, sure, okay. This forced a tiebreaker between Ryan and Sharon, to which Ryan won, and Sharon ended up going home that week. What the heck? This was clearly a goofy question to begin with, and some fans feel like the producers purposely made the answer ambiguous so that they could choose whatever answer resulted in the most drama, like a tiebreaker. It is extremely suspicious that Julie took an 8-second pause to read the answer, but if I'm being honest, that could be attributed to Julie herself being flabbergasted by the answer. Most of the questions in this HOH competition were already pretty whack, and to be fair, we have seen Big Brother throw in trick questions before, like the teacup tiebreaker in Big Brother 8. However, this is clearly much more egregious and on a whole different level. Do I think it was rigged? Honestly, not necessarily, but do I think it was dumb? Absolutely.
Everyone knows Jacob and Sharon and Ryan and Jen were two pre-existing relationships, but there is a third still in the house. Answers, please. The correct answer. The correct answer is fact. We have a tie between Ryan and Sharon. Congratulations, Ryan. You're the new head of household. Sheila, hand over that key to the man.
Who's the relationship in the house?
She said existing in this house right now.
That's not true.
That would have to be you guys.
It's these two, because me and Sharon both got it wrong.
Mother-daughter.
What?
I know it's not me. I know it's Sheila.
How is it me? I don't know any of these freaking people.
I don't know anybody in this house, so it's not me.
I'm knowing it's not me. Well, you know what? I don't know if it's not me.
Look, we gotta have a little fun around here. Maybe it's not actually a conspiracy theory, but where the f is Cirie's veto chip? Through 9 weeks of Big Brother 25, Cirie has never been HOH, nor has she ever been nominated, which means that the only way that Cirie could play in a veto is through the veto draw. But guess what? Cirie's chip has literally never been drawn. And to top it off, she has also never been chosen as a house guest choice, meaning that Cirie has played in a total of 0 veto competitions 9 weeks through the season, even though her chip has been eligible to be drawn all 9 times. Keep in mind that I am not incorporating the final 9 round into this theory because, well, I'm currently on a trip home right now, so I wrote this last week. So this is only up through the final 10. For those that don't know, Cirie, and consequently her veto chip, have both just broken the record for the most consecutive rounds without playing in a veto / being chosen to play for the veto to start the season off at 9, which is absolutely ludicrous. I've seen some talks on the BB streets about how there's gotta be a conspiracy lying in here, so let's take a deeper look. I'm going to assume that there are 2 house guest choice chips in the veto bag, as the actual number has never been confirmed, but we have seen 2 of them drawn before. However, it's entirely possible that there are 3 or even more in the bag, we just don't know. So, factoring in the 2 house guest choice chips, the odds of Cirie's chip never being chosen throughout 9 weeks is actually 6%. I really thought it was going to be lower than that, but I guess not. 6% is low, for sure, but that's definitely not unfathomable or game-breaking. Since there have been so many people in the house this season, the odds have never actually been in Cirie's favor for her chip to get drawn. The double eviction in last week when Cameron was HOH were the 2 best chances that Cirie had of having her veto chip drawn, but there was only a 33% chance both times, so it's really not the craziest thing. I guess you could make the most feeble argument that maybe production hasn't been putting Cirie's chip in the bag because they have some sort of secret agenda, and by having Cirie not playing the vetoes, it inherently makes her look like less of a threat because the house guests aren't seeing her compete nearly as much as everyone else. And by not playing in the vetoes, she never has the opportunity to let an ally down if she doesn't win it. But that's like a ridiculously large stretch. I find this to be a pretty weightless theory, but while we're here, let's keep looking at the percentages. If Cirie's chip isn't chosen at the final 9, which is the week that we're currently in right now, that'll bring it down to 3.9%. If Cirie's chip isn't chosen at the final 8, that brings the overall percentage down to just 2%. And then if her chip miraculously isn't drawn at the final 7, which is the last time that there will be a veto draw, then her odds will be brought down to just 1%. On one hand, that would be pretty cool to see happen, but on the other hand, I would actually like to see Cirie compete in a veto before the endgame starts. So if I had to choose, I would much rather see her veto chip pulled than not be pulled. But we'll just have to wait and see.
Hi, Sam.
Lil. Cameron.
Matt.
America. House guest choice.
House guest choice.
House guest choice.
Cory. House guest choice.
Jared.
Nicole.
Mama Felicia.
America. House guest choice. The Ice Pig. Matt.
Jared. House guest choice.
Bowie Jane.
House guest choice.
Cameron.
House guest choice.
House guest choice.
House guest choice. America.
I didn't get picked to play in a veto competition, but hopefully whoever wins takes me to see The Exorcist Believer.
And there we go. I really like making this series, and I want to keep it going. As long as you're not tired of it, I'll keep making these videos, but I need some help. If you have a Big Brother conspiracy theory you want me to go over, even if you just came up with it on your own, please let me know. I think it would be a lot of fun to go through more of these, and having some viewer involvement is always a lot of fun. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I, of course, need to give that extra special shout out to all of my YouTube members and patrons who have all earned their very own Junior Conspiracy Theorist badges. And, as always, here's a clip for you on your way out.
I do like Cory. We have been getting really close, but he is a little bit of a project. Just gotta polish him up and make him the perfect man for me.
No,
Don't shave the
don't
mustache.
shave it off.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take this lump of clay and mold it into the perfect boyfriend.
I have this girlfriend, America, who's making me wear bronzer and grow out what is potentially the worst facial hair in Big Brother history.
I am hoping to pick literally anybody but Cameron.
Santa, for Christmas early, do not pick Cameron's name.
Cameron.
Who would have guessed?